Evolutionarily speaking, when it comes to the sexes, there's always going to be a sex that has one advantage and a sex that has another advantage. But with every advantage comes a cost, an evolutionary cost. And we're going to be talking about what are women's kryptonite based on the evolutionary advantage that they inherently have. All right. So that's the topic of today. So if you're a woman watching this, you want to be able to listen to this and understand this is a weakness that you have inherently and it's in your DNA, and to use your rationality to combat it, because it's an emotional response that's very primitive and very difficult to control, right? But if you use your rationality as a way to combat those responses, you could turn your weakness into a strength and as a result grow as a person. So remember, with every advantage comes a disadvantage. All right. With every strategy, there's a fallback. There's always a negative behind everything. Think of men. A man's strength is his weakness, which is his testosterone. A man with high testosterone and a high sex drive can be easily manipulated by a woman who uses her femininity against him. And it's called a honey trap. A lot of guys have been killed. A lot of guys like me have been mugged through honey traps. That's right, people. I'll tell you that story another time. The one time where I got mugged in Mexico by two dudes who were posing as women. So let's talk about what are the weaknesses, women's weakness. So the first kryptonite that women have is her desire to accumulate resources for her children. It's like, when you see a dog take a shit and they kick their legs back even though they don't need to, right? The same with women acquiring resources. It's an instinct that they have. It's like a scorpion biting something. And the reason why is because all of the women who passed on their genes, all of her ancestors had that trait. That's why they were able to pass on their genes. They looked for resources. So their brain is wired for that because they're the descendants of the females that use those strategies. So to women, having resources and social status is a necessity, not just for them, but also for their offspring. It's important. It's not a luxury. It's a necessity for women. They get pregnant and need a man who isn't broke, right? So one of the weaknesses is when you see a man who have a lot of resources, all right? There's something in you that's going to be triggered where you'll want to be with him. And if you're and this relates to men, where if you see him, if a woman sees you and you have resources, she'll do a lot of crazy shit to be with you, because it's evolutionarily to an advantage, right? And so what happens is that your amygdala, the part of the brain that wants safety, the part of the brain that's always looking out for threats, will see this as a way to eliminate a threat. And as a result, it'll hijack her brain and make her hyper focused to get that resource. And so it opens up the door for manipulation. It opens up the door for her to do shit that she normally wouldn't do just for money or resource, either directly through, like some women do, sex work, or through finding a rich husband or finding a guy who has high status who could potentially give her resources. They'll do crazy shit just to get his attention. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing, the desire for resources. And the reason why is because that's a woman's number one priority. If she has a child, she needs to get resources, not to enrich herself, but to give it to her kids, right? So the next one is this: birth control. Birth control. Birth control changes a woman's mating strategy. They are okay with they become more okay with short-term relationships and have less fear of pregnancy. It changes everything of them fundamentally. Even though we have improved evolutionarily, we have improved as a human species in terms of how we live, those wiring evolutionarily are still strong within us. So if a woman, let me say why this is a big kryptonite for women. Because when you're a woman and you're on birth control, studies have shown that they like men who are more feminine. And they end up marrying that guy, as an example, because their preferences change from more masculine men to more feminine men. They end up marrying that guy and having kids with him. And when you have kids, a lot of these women stop taking birth control. But then what happens is that their bodies will then reacclimate their hormones will go back to normal relatively, and their desire for a masculine guy goes up, and their desire for a feminine guy goes down. And the issue happens is that all of a sudden, without knowing why, they find their man that they're with unattractive now, because their attraction for feminine men isn't really innate to most of these women, and they end up finding themselves in a conundrum where they're with a man they don't love, they're with a man they don't even find attractive, and so they end up cheating or divorcing earlier than they should, you know. And that's a problem, because it creates those types of situations that I know are very awkward, and it's something that most people don't want to be in. And yeah, birth control, man. And the reason, and it goes, and the next one goes down with this topic, is that women are attracted to alpha men, and in a certain way, that is their kryptonite. They may say it's not. They may say they find it toxic, but they're attracted to that. Women are turned off by men who are dominated by other men. I mean, if they say I don't want an alpha man, then go ahead and be like, okay, so you want a man? So would you want a man that is always physically being dominated by other men? And imagine being with a guy. What would you prefer? Seeing a guy get dominated by other men, or seeing your man dominate other men? What do you prefer? Right? That's just in their DNA. Right? So women are turned off by men who are dominated by other men, who don't get respect by other men, and that's why as a man, we have to focus on getting respect from other men, because other women see the fact that other men don't respect us. They can tell. An eligible man isn't a man who's single, but a man who has resources and isn't giving it to other women. Right? So that's what you have to realize, is that just because you're single, like me as a guy, right? Just because I'm single don't mean I'm eligible. I'm actually, you know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm eligible. I got, I got money, I'm eligible. I may be broke, but I'm eligible. No, you're not, because you don't have resources and you're not wanted by other women. So that means you're not eligible. That's what makes an eligible man. And a lot of women complain and say, oh, there are no eligible men. And men say, oh, but all these guys are single. What she's saying is that, oh, you guys are not eligible. Yeah, you guys are there, but and the reason why she says that is because she has so many options that her standards are not realistic. When in reality, all of these men are eligible, but your standards are so fucking beyond the roof, beyond reason, that you naturally see them as unavailable. No, that you naturally see them as just a fork in the road, getting in the way. You know? And so they want a guy with resources simply because women, by getting with a guy with resources, is one of the most proven ways for women to build to climb up in life. And so the next kryptonite is that women desire status, like I said. And one of the best ways to get status is to marry a guy with status. Why do women marry up? Evolutionary resources. Right? But naturally, when you marry up, this leads to her having to compete and keep the guy that she married. So it's not just women wanting alpha men, but it's also women keeping the guy, because it takes a lot of resources to keep the guy, because he might cheat. And that's a fact. There's other women want him. So it's not just the fact that you want the most attractive guy, which is a problem in my opinion, but it's also you got to waste a lot of evolutionary energy to keep him. So it doesn't end at getting him. You also have to keep the motherfucker. So you got to understand that almost all women deep down have a desire for a connection, a desire for a relationship, a desire for marriage. That's almost all women, mostly all women. And unfortunately, you can manipulate them by just saying that you could offer them that. They may find you unattractive, but if you're the only guy offering that, yeah, they might cheat on you with Tyrone, the personal trainer, but they'll give you that stable relationship that you might want and that she might want, But it's something that we just have to watch out for. So now that you know your kryptonite, be aware that is consistently used against you. That is consistently used to manipulate you, to control you, to make you feel like shit in order to purchase people's products, and insulate your mind from those manipulation by getting off of social media, looking for men that aren't the most famous, keeping things simple, not being on birth control, to be honest with you. And just finding a sense of purpose so that you could stop being controlled by the social force. Having a sense of purpose, feeling like you have a meaningful life, will naturally take you away from this social force, and the social force will not have as much of an influence. Your desires for men will change simply because you have a sense of purpose. And through developing mindfulness and being more present in the moment, it'll deal with the depression, it'll deal with the desire to find a relationship, all of those things that have anxiety, all of the responses from your amygdala will be reduced. Especially those evolutionary desires could be reduced by just simply meditating. It'll introduce more rationality, and it'll bring you some form of control. And watching this channel, which is most important, especially if you want to work with me one-on-one, you could purchase a session in the description down below where it says work with me one-on-one. See you guys next time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys ever want to learn how to use your feminine energy to influence people, learn how to use your masculine energy to become more assertive, and also learn how to blend both energies to improve your dating life, your spiritual life, honestly, your relationship life, your family life, your career life, this is the course for you. If I had to make a course for my nieces, I have two nieces, one is 19 and one is 15. 16. Holy shit. Oh my God, he's a bad fucking uncle. He's a bad uncle. Get him. Shut up, Melissa. You should get this course, right? And this is the course that I will make for them. So, for example, watch the curriculum, right? In the first week, we're going to be showing you how to establish a strong masculine foundation without letting it hurt your feminine energy. This masculine foundation is a source of who you are, right? It's your bodyguard. Without this, whatever feminine energy you create will be destroyed by the outside, because your masculine is your shield. So we'll talk about goal setting. We'll talk about how to develop a serious attitude. We're gonna be talking about how to use more logic, how to use more goal-oriented behavior. It's more how to be a man, Now the next one is how to embrace the feminine energy, right? This one will teach you about how to minimize excessive masculine traits, developing self-awareness, healing abundant feminine energy, regulating your emotion, mastering voice qualities and facial expressions, surrendering control, and allowing pain to be felt. This is honestly, this will supercharge, like Kaioken, your masculine energy. After that, we have femininity in the workplace, and how to be feminine in the workplace without letting people take advantage of you, and the nuances of how women on power should behave versus women who are subordinates in the workplace, and even the dress code. This is based on psychology, people. It's kind of insane. I'm actually excited about this one. The next week, we talk about navigating the labyrinth of male and female friendship, and this a lot of women find confusing, so we talk about that. And how to identify envious friends, how to identify the good friends, how to keep male friends, and how to keep female friends. Week 5, we talk about how to release the burden of the past and stop and destroy mental projections. This is actually really powerful. And then week 6, we talk about how to increase your observational power so that you could read people better. And we have a bunch of bonuses. The course starts at $99, and you guys can pre-order the course today at $69 before it goes out. If you're watching this, most likely I'm in the meditation retreat, so I will be praying for all of you guys. And just click on the description down below of the video. Right there, you'll see it, and you could pre-order that course. It's gonna be out by the end of next month or the beginning of February of March. One of the two, people, because I have a 10-day retreat to do, and I want to finish the course after the retreat, because I think the ideas are gonna be so much better. All right, man. I'll see you guys later. Pre-order, man. I'm closing the channel.